Hey everyone, today I have a really practical product that I think pretty much anybody can benefit from. This is a mini air compressor, super portable. It's pretty much the size of a small water bottle. You can use it to inflate things like sports balls, small inflatable plastic balls, motorcycle tires, bicycle tires, and car tires. So first, just starting off with the actual manual itself, you can see it's quite descriptive. In fact, it also comes in quite a few different languages as well. It has some minimum and maximum settings of pressure that you would have for each mode, as you can see laid out here. I'll be demoing that shortly. But then moving on to what else comes in the box, here is the portable compressor itself, pretty compact. And then there is the tube hose attachment. And then finally, tucked away here is actually the attachment, micro USB charging cable, as well as a small little carrying pouch. And that carrying pouch is actually super handy. It's able to contain all of the items that you would need necessary. So of course the compressor itself, the tube, and then the accessories bag, all in this nice little drawstring enclosure. So just giving you an overview of how this works is very straightforward. You can see the exterior has a pebbled hard plastic finish, so it's easy to grip, which is important because you don't want to leave this unattended. On the bottom you can see is the air intake grill as well as some of the specifications. Then on the top you can see that there is the nozzle connection for the hose, and then you got two USB ports. One is input micro to charge the device. So you can see that when it is charging, it actually would briefly turn on the display of the device, as you can see here, and it'll say that it's CH9 charging. You can see the battery, how much battery life is left on the upper right corner. And once you unplug it, it actually stays on. But this is a good way now that I can show you how to use the built-in flashlight. So the very left button right here, you just need to press and hold, and then it'll turn on the flashlight, as you can see here. It's not super bright, but it's adequate enough to help you find things in the dark if you're trying to pump up your tires on the side of the road at night or something like that. Still talking about the port's exterior, next to that input micro USB charging port is a full USB-A charging port to output power to any device that you would hook it up via USB. So for example, here I'm hooking up my phone and it charges not super fast, but it's decent when you need something at a moment's notice. This is also probably a good time to talk about the battery capacity, which is rated at 2000 milliamp hours. So it's pretty much the size of an average smartphone these days, maybe even smaller depending on what kind of device you have. But primarily it's going to be used for air compression and not charging up your devices as an external power bank. Now moving on to the actual software functions, it's really straightforward. There are a total of 5 different modes that you can cycle through. The very top corner you can see the battery life and then what the nozzle is detecting in terms of pressure. The first button on the very left, when you press it once, will switch between different units. So some of the available units include PSI, bar, kilopascals, and kilograms over centimeters squared. On the bottom right corner you can see there's a little icon indicating what type of mode it's in. Right now it's in ball pumping mode, and if you recall back to the instruction manual, it has a minimum and maximum. So minimum is always 0, but the maximum will vary based on the mode. So in terms of PSI, this will be maxed out at a total of 15 PSI in the ball pumping mode just to be safe. The next mode is the user-defined one, so it's custom to whatever you want. This, of course, has a maximum PSI range of 100, so that's kind of the factory default setting. So you can change it, of course, anywhere between 0 and 100. The next setting is for vehicle tire, so you can set that one, and then you have a motorcycle setting, and then you have a bicycle setting. And now just to demo how to start the air compressor. Warning's going to be really loud. So that same button that you used to turn on the device is also one touch operation to start the air compressing. Press and hold when it's on to turn it off. You would also have to press and hold to turn it back on, so this prevents any unintentional button press. And you can see as I'm cycling through the modes that my pre-entered inputs have been saved, so it's nice that it has this memory function. Personally, I wish they had maybe a second button separate from the power button because it's pretty easy to accidentally start the compressor. I know I did that accidentally my first time when I tried it out, and it gave me quite a scare. Now talking about the included attachments, which is definitely a nice plus. Of course, you know the actual hose attachment here. The silver end is what goes into the actual compressor. The other end has a free turning piece, which makes it really easy to screw in and unscrew whatever air valve that you have. Without any attachments, this is geared towards car tires, and it can also fit most bicycle tires as well. If not, you have this brass attachment here that's really geared for motorcycles and also certain bike tires. And then this one's pretty obvious. This is a needle for pumping up sports balls, so things like basketball, soccer balls. And this final attachment here is for those kind of plastic inflatables. So needless to say, this is a super versatile and compact piece of equipment. It's also not too expensive. As usual, I'll have the product link in the description for you guys who are interested. One thing I do have to say is it's definitely quite loud, but that's kind of to be expected. The smaller the motor, generally the louder it is. But functionality wise, it's definitely right there. Because it's compact, it's really easy to pull it out and start using it. And even if you don't want to use it for the compressing air function, you can easily use it to also check how much pressure is in something, with the exception of very small items like sports balls and small inflatables. But otherwise, it also doubles as a pressure gauge as well. So if you guys are interested, once again, the product link is in the description. I think it's a pretty great buy.